For more on FIFA sponsors, we turn to Dean Crutchfield, founder of Dean Crutchfield Associates, joining me now from our NASDAQ studio in New York. Dean, thanks for joining us.
Thank you.
You know, a lot of statements of support from these big sponsors, but nothing too strongly worded, and no one is yet cutting ties with FIFA. Why is that? Why aren't we seeing more?
I think at the moment it's still early days. There's a lot more momentum to happen here. They've obviously got a lot of the current people that they've arrested under a lot of pressure to give up names and more information. So we'll see over these next few weeks, and maybe these next few months, more and more happen. So I think that's partly why.
So what would it take for a Visa or Adidas to drop FIFA? You mentioned that this is all still in the early stages, but at the end of the day, is there just too much money at stake?
Yes, I mean, it's big money. It's a huge platform. It's the biggest sports platform in the world. It's enjoyed by billions of people. So the last thing a big brand like Coke wants to do is pull itself away from that platform. So no, they're going to be fully on course to make sure that everything stands in a right way for them to maintain their sponsorship of the sport.
You know, we'd been hearing reports that FIFA sponsors had put pressure on Sepp Blatter to resign. Do you think that that had any influence at all on his decision?
I think it has a huge influence on his decision. I mean, the sponsors are key partners for FIFA, and its entire survival and its success is often based a lot on the sponsors that, you know, associate themselves with FIFA. So, you know, that's the situation. There's big money, it's a big platform, these are big brands, they have an opportunity to target a huge sway of the world's population. So, again, last thing you want to do is ditch that. But if there was a reason why a big brand would pull, I would say it would be if they were involved in the bribes themselves. That might be cause for them to pull out. Otherwise, I can't see any real reason why you would pull out from such a massive event that FIFA sponsors.
So do you think that these sponsors need FIFA more than it needs them?
Oh, that's a really good question. I would actually say no. I think that the sponsors need FIFA more than FIFA needs the sponsors ultimately. I think, as one of your colleagues say, it's for girls and boys kicking a ball. It's about the sport. It's about the fans. So ultimately, FIFA is therefore a critical platform for these brands to sponsor and enjoy.
You know, Sepp Blatter isn't leaving his post for another 6 months or so. Are these sponsors taking a huge risks with their brands by just standing by and not doing more? Do you think the fans and consumers are watching this? Do they even care?
I believe the consumers and people watching this do care. I think they have cold contempt for what's occurred at FIFA, especially if it's been for the last 20 years. So I think, you know, people genuinely care about it. I think that, you know, a lot of the time people say, do you remember what you ate last Wednesday? And I'm sure the same case is here, that ultimately the passion for the game, the love of the game, the fanaticism of the fans is going to literally make water under the bridge. But that's because of now. What we don't know is what happens over the coming weeks.
Well, and we might soon find out, you know, these investigations are currently going on in Switzerland, possibly the U.S., on how the games were awarded to Russia and to Qatar. How do you think the sponsors will react if it's determined that these cities were awarded unfairly?
It's a really tough question because it comes back to the huge influence that this platform of sport has for them. I think they're going to be very dogged right now. They're all over this, possibly more than even FIFA is, to make sure that everything's being done above board. So that's the most important thing, is that transparency happens and that everyone starts to get stuck into the detail in a public way, which is open and honest, as opposed to the closeted way that it's been treated so far.
All right, we'll leave it there. Dean Crutchfield in New York, thank you so much for your perspective.
Thank you.